Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of New to Weeaboo. This is number 68 for March 23rd, 2022. I am Nemesis, and I'm joined, as always, by Alcatraz.
Ooey.
Yeah. Let's see, what was one thing that happened? Oh yeah, anime stuff. They announced the second season of Love Live Superstar will be airing in summer, which means we're getting back-to-back Love Live. I'm very excited about that.
Of course you are.
And one thing I forgot to mention last time was they announced Love Live VTubers, and I'm like, oh great, I'm doomed.
Yep.
I'm doomed.
You're doomed.
Doomed. Which, yeah, that's another thing. The HoloFest is happening as we're recording. Actually, yeah, the second day hasn't actually quite started yet, but we'll be in a few hours as we're recording. But yeah.
By the time this comes out, it'll probably be over.
It'll be over. Yeah, because it's a 2-day thing. And kind of like, wow. Stuff has been happening, that's for sure.
Yep.
On that front. Beyond that,
I guess VTubers is anime tangential.
Yeah, maybe also slowly getting release dates for stuff coming out in the next couple seasons, so that's a thing. So yeah, we'll see that stuff, and yeah, releasing that stuff pretty soonish actually, because this season's almost over. Yeah, so that's a thing.
Yep,
beyond that, I can't really think of much else off the top of my head. Nothing I can think of.
Yep.
Oh, apparently more FLCL. Apparently that's a thing. More.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
It's like, people, please stop.
FLCL. I still haven't seen any of it.
I've seen the first one. I have not seen the later series. Regardless, we're not here to talk about that stuff. We're here to talk about another anime, which this one's called The Girl in Twilight. And yeah, this came out in 2018, the fall of 2018, actually. So it's almost 4 years old. Not quite, but almost. It's actually also known as Akasasu Shoujo, which translates roughly to Girl Glowing Red. And let's see, how do I want to put this first to start off? I would say, before we get into the nitty gritty of it and all the details and spoilers and stuff, I would say go ahead and check it out. Put your expectations a little in check, but go ahead and check it out. There's a lot of interesting ideas and stuff, and just don't be surprised when you're like left a little wanting or whatever.
Yeah. It's good enough to recommend. I did enjoy it. I don't regret watching it. So yeah, I do recommend watching it. But yeah, it's not like, oh my god, you have to see this. This is absolutely incredible or whatnot. Don't get like super hyped over it. But it was good. I did enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so getting into it, I remember way up back when I watched this, I was talking to you about it over Discord, because at the time, well,
right.
I think I said something along the lines of, imagine Sliders meets Magical Girls. And there's a brief pause, and you said, you have my attention.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that now. It's been a while. Since we had that conversation. But yes, Sliders meets Magic. Yeah. Yeah, and it does sort of fit that. I think when you say Sliders, I have a little bit of a different.
I mean, it has a lot of similarities, weirdly enough.
Somewhat, although it depends.
Sliders had a Wild West world.
Yes.
Oh, that was because Texas was a bigger thing than it is in the real world. Or there was the prison planet, or the British never.
There is some differences. It depends on what you're pulling out of Sliders and what you.
And the world that seems pretty much like normal, and then you find out there's something really weird about it.
Yep. I think the big difference is the reasoning and underlying plot behind it is not.
But it's got a lot
Sliders.
of we're gonna jump around between dimensions. That's what Girl in Twilight is. A group of girls. They every day at 4:44 p.m. because spooky. Remember, in Japan, the number 4 is considered bad because it sounds a lot. The original version of it sounds like kind of very similar to the word for death, I believe.
She.
Yeah, she. Which has a lot to do with death, and so they don't like that one.
Yeah, that's why it's yawned now.
That's why it's yawned, yeah. But yeah, anyway, so 444. It's anyway, the number 4 is considered kind of cursed. It's like the number 13, so it's like you kind of avoid it. Like you'll see an apartment building won't have like a 4th floor or whatever.
Yeah, where we will skip our 13th floor hotels and whatnot.
It's that sort of thing. So they do that, and they do this little ritual thing, I guess, to bake con or whatever. They're doing something.
Yeah.
This little ritual. And then eventually one of them gets this radio frequency to use, and it takes them to a different world.
Sort of, yeah. It takes them to like this weird empty-ish place.
The golden glowing thing, and this girl shows up and starts feeding up these monsters they find called Noisies. They look like little cute rabbit things till they're not cute anymore.
They're not. Yeah, and they combine.
And she shows up,
yeah.
and then they find out there's alternate worlds, and they find out they keep getting different radio frequencies to use for this ritual that takes them to these other worlds, and then these were a little weird, and the girls get various powers. They become magical girls, called equalizers, and they kind of confront their own things as they go through this, and then it turns out that also the other girl was actually a version of one of them already, and that one turns out there's the Twilight King or whatever who's kind of messing up everything and trying to stop.
Basically eating destroying and
destroying everything. She's trying to stop him and all that stuff, and that's how it kind of ends with a lot of stuff not quite resolved.
Yeah.
Some stuff, yes, but a lot of stuff kind of left really open and whatnot, and we'll get a little more into that later. But yeah. The characters, though, you got the main one, Asuka. Yes, I know.
Asuka.
I forgot that her name was Asuka when we wanted to said because this was actually, that was very much an unintentional coincidence. I swear. A lot of stuff was
2 anime in a row where the main characters are Asuka.
2 Magic Girl anime in a row.
Yes.
Name Asuka. Asuka Tsuchimiya. Yeah, she's very much a kind of a very happy-go-lucky girl, kinky girl, essentially. Really interested in what are they called again? I forgot. The chica, the thing she keeps eating.
Oh, right. That she pulls out I looked those up.
Chikakawa?
It's this food that
Chikakawa? I want to say Chikakawa or something like that.
Yeah. Chikawa.
That's what it was. Chikawa.
I think. Yeah.
Was it?
Chikawa. Yeah, it's Chikawa.
Yeah, Chikawa. It's this weird fish thing. But anyway,
yeah, it's a
she loves that, and she
fish thing.
Yeah, her whole she's very happy-go-lucky, Genki girl type thing, and kind of a bit of a dork. Helps run this club, which they're kind of into this weird paranormal weird stuff.
It's a radio club. It's it's not the broadcasting.
Not
club,
the broadcasting. It's a radio something club, and I'm sure they're kind of into weird stuff as well. And also, she lost her little brother when she was younger.
Literally lost.
Literally, he just disappeared. She turned around. He was just gone.
Yep. And they never found
no trace of him whatsoever. Then you got Yu Tonika, who's a childhood friend, and kind of a very serious girl, more kind of the one of the more responsible ones. Tends to try to keep Asuka in line and not often failing.
Yep. Tries to keep her in check.
And all that stuff. And you got Mia Silverstone, who's a very shy, quiet girl, and I believe she's also a year younger than the rest of them as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah, she's kind of shy, quiet, reserved, little skittish, cowardly, that sort of thing.
But also very kind.
Yeah, very kind as well. And then you got Nana Nanase. Her whole thing, she's kind of tsundere. She doesn't want to join the club initially, just kind of hangs around them because they sound kind of interesting or whatever. Not like she cares about them that much, that sort of thing.
Baka.
Yeah. Also, her mom remarried at one point. She has a kind of very frigid relationship with her stepdad, and also resents the fact that her name is now Nana Nanase because, yeah.
Na.
That whole thing. And then you got Chloe Marisu, who's not... Her and me are not Japanese. Chloe, or at least Chloe is the very least, only at the very most half Japanese, I believe. Something like French. Because she frequently speaks
a lot of French.
Yeah, she's a very quiet, stoic person, likes to read books and kind of be by herself for a large chunk of time, although she kind of realizes that's not so much the case anymore. But anyway.
She's an interesting one. We'll get to that one.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is they jump worlds through, a radio, and then they get there, and these worlds, they're always a little different. Like the first one they really jumped, full-fledged world they jumped to is it seems pretty much the same, and they didn't even realize anything was different except Nana disappeared. Right? Yep. She's just gone.
Just gone.
And then they find her later with, them.
Yep.
Because this world is a bit different. They're like, wow, there's a weird obsession with weddings and love here. A weird amount of obsession here, because apparently in this world there's a whole weird law where women have to get married at age 17 for some reason. They don't get into why or anything, but I suspect it's probably a weird attempt to save the declining birth rate in Japan they somehow went through in this world.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be my guess.
Maybe. They didn't explain it.
They didn't explain it other than it's just a thing in this world. Apparently Nana's getting married pretty soon to a big celebrity, who's a big celebrity in their world, and a celebrity here too. Then she finds out, she's all cool with it at first. Like, I'm cool with this.
Well, she did. At
Well,
first, she wasn't, and then she found out who it was.
Yeah, and then she was cool with it, and then she wasn't cool with it again when she found out what his real name was and what her name would be because it was it not it was
Try to remember. It's
something to do with bananas, wasn't it? It was something like
something like that. I think
banana.
I think it had something to do with bananas.
Yeah, it's like his name was like Chocoba or something like that. So it's like Choco Banana. And she was like, yeah, and she was not happy about that.
No, I can't marry you just because the last name wouldn't work.
Yeah, and that's the thing was it's a weird thing is what happens is each of the girls go do this thing where they have to kind of confront themselves more or less and what they really want in life and everything, and that helps them have a realization. It gives them this power, this equalizer thing. It basically manifests as a tape, which they put in a Sony Walkman, and that lets them transform into a magical girl, which gives them the power to fight these things called Clutters, which kind of are agents of the Twilight King who, just destroy the world.
Yep.
Worlds.
Yep, the parallel universes.
Yeah. So that's the thing, and they wind up doing that, and there's the reason they find out all of this stuff is because there's another Asuka who, kicks when they almost could die in that weird, not really a world kind of golden lake thing or whatever. The other girl shows up who turns out to be Asuka as well. It was a very serious Asuka to the point they call her Seriousika.
Yep.
Yeah, her whole thing is just, at first she's like, forget this ever happened, just go back to your normal lives, all that stuff. And they're like, that's not going to happen.
Especially not because there's another character that kind of gets in the way.
Yeah. Who at first is just very much in the shadows. We find out she's a version of you. Yeah, you also has another doppelganger running around who's very different from she's not serious and all and stuff and uptight. She's very, very loose and happy and very, very flirty with Asuka.
Very flirty. And
the outfit she wears is very not conservative, shall we say? And
yes.
So she winds up being called Sexy You, and
yep.
You is not happy with this.
Yep.
Asuka definitely a couple times makes it kind of clear that she's kind of on board with some of the stuff that Sexy You does. Sexy You just says something like Asuka's like, okay.
Okay.
Just kind of goes with it, and Yu's freaked out. That's one of the worlds was the wedding world, and another one was Mia wound up being a thing. Because basically the whole thing, when they jump worlds, the first one to move winds up kind of merging with the local version of themselves.
Yep, they call it the link.
Yeah, and then the rest of them kind of have to go find them, and they're separate, so they wind up seeing, kind of seeing each other a lot. They're doppelgangers a lot, and there's the Wild West one where for whatever reason Japan's just super interested in the American Wild West for some reason or another. Don't know why, but
I guess
okay.
Maybe.
I guess they really liked Westerns.
Why are we so interested in like the samurai and ninjas?
I don't know. But it's just, it's to the point where like culturally just took over. Like to the point like they're, everyone's dressed like cowboys and they've got saloons and everyone's, culture, like people have just guns, and they even have a weird thing when they have a judge show up who has them dueled to the death or whatever. It's kind of weird.
It's weird.
And then we have the Chloe's world. There's basically this world that's just mostly pretty much all islands, and there's this like AIs that take care of people's concerns and problems and stuff and deliver stuff whatever you want via drones and everything. And then you got Seriousika's world, it's just basically on the verge of being destroyed. Because the Queen of Twilight has already shown up, and it's not a fun time. But this is also something we find out, which is Asuka. So many Asukas have all lost their little brother.
It seems to be a constant.
Yes, very much a constant.
That's one interesting point.
Yeah,
they
Kyo.
never
her little brother Kyo.
Yeah. They never explain the little brother. At one point, I thought they were going to. I think they were. The way they wrote it is to make you think that they're going to introduce that concept, but then they kind of pull the rug.
Yeah.
With they quote reveal the Twilight King, or what they think is a Twilight King. Leading up to it, I think they wrote it in a way that makes you think that the Twilight King is her brother.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Right.
One, it's not even the Twilight King. It's just another agent.
Representative of the Twilight King.
It's basically the voice of.
Yeah.
But it turns out this agent is another Asuka.
Yeah. Little version.
Yeah, a little version. Apparently this particular version of Asuka wasn't so much pain, but heard the whisper of the Twilight, the call of the Twilight, and accepted the call and became the agent, and basically just acted to start destroying worlds in exchange for never getting older and supposedly no longer feeling any emotions or pain.
Yeah, which that turned out to be a bunch of crap.
Yep. Which the other Asuka
was able
took advantage of.
Yeah, that was the thing. But that's the thing. One of the big parts of this anime is these girls all confronting themselves and kind of improving themselves because they're basically confronting fears or just parts of their personalities that they just don't like so much and kind of overcoming it to a degree. Like Nana is her frigid relationship with her stepdad and just kind of her very much shutting people out via her sarcastic, standoffish nature.
Yep.
And then you got Chloe, who she loves being alone, except she's finding out that's not so much true anymore. She actually genuinely loves having this group of friends, even if she does so occasionally like her alone time. And all this. And Mia's wanting to be more brave and whatnot is a big thing for her with the Wild West world. So that's why in there she's a sheriff's deputy.
Yep.
Oh, crap. And the thing is, you and Asuka's are different because, they don't have to go to merge with the local thing. Well, kind of you does, but it's a whole different thing. Her merging doesn't have anything real bearing on the whole, her confrontation herself. Her confrontation is her dealing with her feelings for Asuka.
Which I guess in some way was her merge with the sexy.
Kind of, but it wasn't like it happened. It was later, because the U's talking to each other.
Yeah, it was very different.
Sexy U is just like, more or less pushed her, like, you know what you need to do.
Yep.
And because that was the thing, the sexy you there was kind of working behind the scenes trying to manipulate them and whatnot. And also kept hitting on the serious Asuka who's like doesn't seem to want anything to do with sexy you, except maybe she does. Because that's a thing. I'm not even sure from there, because they're clearly not from the same world, because Asuka said that her you died,
which is why the U's merge was so weird.
Yeah, because it's
sexy. You happened to be in the same world and had to attach to something.
Happened to be, I suspect.
Yeah, of course. She's been following him around the whole time.
Yeah,
that was weird because you have to merge with the U. The actual U is dead, but here's another U, but it's not the U from the same world, so we'll merge them, but it'll be different.
Yeah, although also there was some implication might be just because this U is much more strong-willed or something. I don't know.
That too, but there's also one thing that they never brought up. That's different about sexy U is her transformation item, where all the rest of them get tapes and a Walkman. She has a CD player.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, and that's not explained. That's obviously, something that we see all the Walkmans, everyone else gets tapes, and it shows them up front, and then they show her with something very different. It seems to be like this is a critical difference.
Funny thing is, they don't really explain why the tapes are a thing in the first place either.
They don't, but that just ties in with the whole sound and music theme that they're
and
going with.
The radio theme specifically, actually.
Well, radio's frequency, yeah.
There's also that was a fun one where they try to go back to that one world, the Sirisuka's world, and can't. It's gone.
Complications. Yep.
And that's the thing. But so Yu's thing was her confronting her feelings for Asuka and whatnot. It was for her realization. Asuka's is a weird one because it came at the very end. It's literally a stinger. Because she didn't get a tape until the very, very end.
Yeah.
And that was, I think the implication there is her more or less confronting her grief over the loss of her brother.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the things, they make it kind of clear she's not over it, she's just suppressing everything.
Yep.
And
they bring that up multiple times. There was a big conversation.
It's pretty obvious
about it.
that she's, and by that end you see, because they have, his room, Kyo's room there is just preserved.
Yep.
Just he'll be back someday, and it's gonna be exactly the way it was left. And it's just eventually we see at the end final episode they got stuff packed up in boxes and stuff and whatnot. They're moving forward. You don't really get over it, but you're able to move forward.
Yep.
And I think that's for her. That was a big one for her, was having to realize that her grief wasn't really gone and whatnot.
Yeah, you can't just bury it, pretend everything's okay.
Yeah,
But you've got to acknowledge it. And that's the running theme from all of this is
gotta confront your
you got to
stuff.
confront it and deal with it. You can't just let it sit. It's just going to fester.
Of course, we should also mention that part of Asuka's grief is filled by guilt because when her brother disappeared, a lot of the reasons she was upset was not because her brother was gone, because she was trying to make sure she didn't, get in trouble. So she was, crying to, not get in trouble. Because that was her biggest thing at the time. So now there's a guilt of like, wow, I can't believe I was such a horrible person about it. So there's that, but it's on top of the general grief of losing her brother too. So that's a thing. So yeah, a lot of them get these their designs, new magical designs, like because Nana's was in the wedding world and she was gonna get married to the guy, although it turns out the guy was one of the clutters.
Yep.
That's the thing they keep finding, that what the chief problem is usually it's like one of the clutters was a judge in the Western world, there was the actor guy in the wedding world, and it was the AI in the water world.
Yep.
So her outfit was very much had a very bridal motif to it. You also get these weird visors and stuff, but yeah, and so it was like the bouquet was basically you shoot big old lasers and stuff like that. And you got Mia's was very Wild West theme with like a big old like bullet shoulder puller and things, and
Stetson and her spurs,
which basically start spinning, and then she just goes super fast and everything. And you got Chloe's, which is some weird diving suit thing, which kind of looks bad, honestly.
I don't like Chloe.
Like, yeah, I want to be honest. Nana's and Mia's are actually pretty decent designs. I actually kind of like them. But then you got Chloe's. It's like, what is this?
What is this? It's Serious Asuka's was pretty good too.
Yeah, and that was the other thing was when I noticed was both U's had different designs.
Yep.
Which is interesting, which would imply that the Asuka, we never saw her transform, the main character. That's an interesting one. The main character in a Magical Girl anime never becomes a Magical Girl, at least not in the anime.
Yeah.
We never see her, so the implication would be her design would be different from the other Asukas.
Yep, I want to see it.
Oh, that was another thing was she was being super kind to the Serious Asuka and letting her in her house and sleep in her bed and everything. And then at one point, her grandma caught them and was like, "What? Oh, we met each other. It's kind of weird. We look alike, don't we? It's weird because we also have the same name." Okay. It's one of those things. Like, yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah, that people just latch onto whatever just lets their life be normal.
Yep, and that was a point that they made. If you make it easy for them to just accept this is normal in some way, they will.
Yeah, it doesn't matter even if some part of their brain is screaming this is wrong, they'll go, well, this seems like sense. I'll go along with that because I don't want to think about it any further.
I don't want to think about the alternate.
Somebody else's problem.
Yep. And then it turns out the Serious Asuka really likes the miso soup.
Yeah. That's that whole thing. And then at one point, after the Serious Asuka's world has been destroyed, we're assuming Serious Asuka's gone forever. There's a bit where, oh, hey, someone stole some miso soup.
A perfect bento-sized chunk of miso soup.
Oh, she's alive and well. She's just not.
Supposedly. Yes, that's what they're hinting at.
It's kind of obvious.
Yeah. And that's an interesting one because it was earlier said that, no, that can't happen. It's too late. That world is already destroyed. But the young Asuka wasn't always exactly right about what she was saying, apparently.
Yeah.
As we found with that whole thing. Apparently her emotions were not gone. Like
nope,
she said
she got pretty upset.
So, yeah, and that was a key point because they had, that big freaking battle and fighting and such like that. And they finally catch the upper hand and Asuka's like, nah, I'll go with you. We just went through all of that to keep you from going with her. And
it's kind of necessary because Asuka needed to confront herself.
Yep.
Literally.
But, and Asuka saw that during the fight, that this other one that's supposed to have no emotions still does. Yeah. She was recognizing the emotions popping up and went, I see, and went, okay, I'll go with you and we'll have a talk.
Yeah, they got pretty existential in the final episode there. A lot of very Evangelion-esque stuff, I'll be honest.
Congratulations.
I know a lot of people, not that far apart, but a lot of people, I know some people will go, oh, you just made an Evangelion reference. Is that the only anime you've ever seen? But it's kind of very similar in that sort of vein of just kind of a, that just general, like, we're just going to have some weird visuals and talk philosophy for a bit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that, no.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So that's a thing. Yeah, there's a bit where it's implied, they don't really show, but it's implied Asuka and Yu kiss.
Yes, they don't.
It's heavily
show,
implied, but they don't
were
actually show anything.
They were totally kissing. I don't care what anyone else will say. They totally were.
I mean, even at the end, they're like in their third year now. They're also planning on trying to get into the same college and everything, so they can be together still. And it's like, okay,
yeah,
it's a thing.
They're totally a thing.
They're gonna become a thing just now. That's a little bit, and yeah. So yeah, the thing is, the anime ends with a lot of loose ends. Of course, the Sirisika is presumably alive and well, but we don't see her again. Kyo's still missing. The whole mystery about Kyo, because it seems like he literally disappears, which there's implications about that to the point of I would suspect that the Twilight King or whatever is Kyo or somehow or related. The two are definitely connected, in my opinion. But that's never really followed up on. The Kyo is still just missing with the big mystery around it.
That and the fact that Kyo missing is a constant across all universes we've seen so the Twilight King is not defeated in any real capacity. There's a lot of loose ends at the end, and it's like, and again, Asuka, there's a stinger with her getting her tape, and then nothing. That's the end. That's literally the end of it. So it's like lots of stuff seems to be kind of just not. It's pretty clear they were planning on doing more. Yeah, hoping for more. I think there was like a game.
There was a game. Here's the thing about the game. There was a game where you had to follow up stuff, and they added the player character in as an extra character and more ethnic. If I recall, I never played it because it was never released in the U.S., I believe. But it's added more to the story. But here's the thing about this anime. This is why you might be wondering, why in the world are we talking about this if we like it so much? Why in the world are we talking about it with like in the regard to like mishaps or whatever? Like I said, the theme of this was. This anime was not popular.
It was not, apparently.
It bombed. It was supposed to be a big deal, like his 20th anniversary of the Animax channel and everything. It's supposed to be like a manga and an anime and a game and all this stuff. And the anime came out and the game came out, and that was it. And the game came out in October of 2018 and shut down in January of 2019.
Yeah.
It did not last long. That is a sign the whole franchise completely and totally bombed.
Which kind of sucks, because this was actually pretty decent.
Yeah. And that's what my thing is. It's like there's so much there. There's a lot of potential here for more, and it just never got its chance.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me upset about this. And that's why I get mad about this one, because I never got a chance to really go anywhere. And you can see so much of all these things about I like these characters. I like where they're going with the story, and just kind of never got its chance to really breathe. It was just killed unceremoniously. Just that's it. It's done. I notice a lot of people really don't like it for whatever reason, but I also see a lot of the critical reviews are very much in it's pretty good, but it's got flaws.
Yeah, which you can say about a lot of things.
Yeah, the stuff like some people think is a little heavy-handed or whatever, and some people don't like the magical battles themselves. They thought those are because the magical really big old CG bombastic affairs, which are really cool looking to a degree, although kind of a little it's anime CG, so it's a little cheap looking sometimes.
Yeah.
But generally, they did a pretty good job with it, I feel. But yes, apparently some people thought they were pointless and kind of actually hurt the show, but whatever. Unfortunately, the game came out at the same time, didn't last very long. I mean, not even, it only lasted like 3 months. That's very bad.
That's really bad.
And the only thing was, the one saving grace on there was they sent out a final update to make it so all this story content was accessible offline.
Yeah.
But only if you, had the game already. Again, I believe the game was never released in the US. So that's an unfortunate thing. So the thing is, never found an audience. So it wasn't very popular. So it bombed pretty hard commercially. And so there's a lot of stuff that just simply will never be answered.
Yep.
We're not going to find out anything about Kyo. We're not going to find out the Twilight King stuff or any of that. We're not going to see Asuka transformed. We're not going to see any of it.
Yep. And it sucks because I want to see more.
Yeah, it kind of just sucks. That's the thing. It's just kind of dead in the water, and there's not much you can do about it. And I'm kind of just surprised how many people really just didn't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what their problem was. And I know one person was very down on the animation. It's like the animation sometimes a little rough, but it wasn't that bad. I've seen far worse.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the problem was there. It's just, of course, we've just been Google internet hyperbole, so
Yeah.
which is a thing.
If it's not 100% perfect, then it's 100% bad.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's my thing about it. That's why I'm kind of upset about it. It never got a chance to really shine.
Yeah. Well, one thing you mentioned, how it kind of ends with loose ends. It did. It ended with a lot of loose ends. However, it completed its story.
Well, not all of it. Again,
its primary.
I would say even it completed some of its primary stuff, but some of it was, again, the Kyo thing was pretty important, and then was never wrapped up.
Right, but I would include that one in the overall lore.
I wouldn't.
Instead of
I would say that's very much story. That is a very driving force for Asuka and her behavior.
Yeah, and I get that more as an overarching entire series kind of a thing. You wouldn't want to put in just one season. You want to stretch that one out. I think while it ended up with a lot of loose ends, it wasn't as bad as I've seen other ones where they end with so many loose ends. It's just insane. This one I think had better closure.
But that's when there's also have the problem of it's based on a manga, which then they had to awkwardly try to close off.
Right, that they did have that benefit. So that might be what I'm catching there. Is it
has some stuff does
feel
come,
as
some stuff does come to a satisfying end, but a lot of stuff is left open, and like big important things like that's kind of something that should be addressed because the multiverse is still in danger.
Yeah, but those ones I feel are something that you would, since they're so core to the whole lore, it's something that you would need to address over the entire series and not finish up in a single season, because then you run out of stuff to talk about.
It depends on how you wanted to structure it. It's pretty clear they thought this thing would be a big deal.
Yeah,
this is one of the things. It's exclusively to High Dive in the U.S. and I believe and generally internationally. I think it's one of those High Dive one after thing. It was going to be a big thing, and then it wasn't.
Yeah,
I vaguely remember them pushing it pretty hard back when it was coming out.
The name does sound familiar from
I
back
don't
then.
think it just never took off, unfortunately. So it just they thought it was going to be the big thing, and it just wasn't.
Yeah,
and so they thought for sure, probably what they thought is season 2 was guaranteed slam dunk, and it didn't turn out not to happen. So they structured it that way. So who knows? There's probably like some script out there written for a season 2 somewhere that never really or at least an outline or something.
Yeah,
never
something
really
probably
happened.
I would love to know. I would love to find out what happens.
I want to know.
It
sucks. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of upset about this one.
Upset not because it's bad, just because it's good. And there's not enough.
It's pretty good with a couple rough spots, but it's pretty good. It has room for improvement and so much more, and just never got his chance. I would say though, in the end of the day, even with this stuff, even with the fact that it's clearly unfinished, still check it out. It's still worth overall worth a look, and it just is I would say generally a fun time.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Go watch it. I would probably give this 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8.
Yeah.
It was good. I like it,
and I kind of wish more people saw it.
Yeah.
No, maybe we get the girl in Twilight resurgence.
Bring it back. Finally get that season 2.
Yeah. Sheer willpower.
God, that would be nice if it gets a sudden cult following.
Yeah. Well, that would be weird.
That would be weird.
It was another thing. It was done by Dandelion Animation Studio, which I believe was a new studio at the time. And Jimonji and Okuroto Noboru, who is at multiple animation studios, and this one was they were brand new at the time. I think they did that was literally their first thing. Got some cool ideas and stuff. Some of them not fully realized, unfortunately, and wish it could have been more.
Yep.
I think that's about it, though. I'm trying to think of anything really else I want to get into.
I mean, most you can.
I mean, some of the alternates, the versions of them are kind of funny, just because Asuka's always kind of a bit of a weirdo or something. Like there's the bounty hunter Asuka, and the
bounty hunter Asuka.
Either she's a super big weirdo or she's super serious.
Yeah, it was one of the two. The Western one. It was it? Trying to remember. Nana and
Chloe were
the
bank robbers and whatnot.
Yeah, but they were doing it because they were running an orphanage.
Yep. And Asuka's a bounty hunter. Yu's running the saloon, and Mia's the deputy.
And yeah, Mia was the deputy, but she was also the link.
And also in the wedding world, Yu was already married because she was already past 17.
Right.
And it's interesting. Oh dear.
Oh.
Because I'm thinking about the Asuka Yu thing. It makes you wonder what kind of marriage that is. Because it seems like there's matchmaking services and everything in that world.
Yeah.
And in the Chloe world, Chloe's like, also a loner and also kind of stumbled across the big plot of, we're being controlled by that AI.
Yep. Oh god, that whole world is like, this is just Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what Amazon.
This is just
Amazon's
Amazon
Endgame
reference.
This is Amazon's Endgame.
Yep. That was also the Chloe. Chloe's an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
Not all introverts are always loners. It's like just because someone is an introvert, that was a big one that I liked in that episode. I didn't like her outfit.
No.
Like the magical girl thing that she got. But it's one of those, a lot of people think when it comes to introverts, they always want to be alone by themselves all the time. They just can't handle and don't want any social interaction. That's not always true. I mean, sometimes that's true. Some people can go some introverts are completely fine, but that's not always true. Even if someone's an introvert and it's draining to be social, sometimes they still need to be social sometimes. So it's kind of nice to see that.
Yeah, another thing with that, it's like in that world also, because of some reason the other characters are like kind of shunted off to like some prison.
Yeah, any dissenters were shoved into.
Except for Asuka, who apparently was just kind of broken in such a way that she just talks to every object thinking they're all alive.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, he's like, oh no, this world's not that great after all. Oh no.
Yep.
It thinks like a tropical paradise. And that's another thing that's interesting is like, that world seems to be, I'm not sure if they're trying to go with this whole, the world's, underwater because global warming or because this world's just different, which would be an island nation like that would be like, or island world like that would very much, the population would be much lower.
Yes.
Makes you actually think, well, some of them just don't exist in that world. That would be a thing.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
That's more or less it for this anime and this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can check out other episodes on newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com. That's spelled Libsyn. You can check out the RSS feed there to subscribe, or you could go via Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or Amazon Podcasts. Search for New to Weeaboo and all those, or click the buttons at the top, except for Amazon. Yeah, subscribe via any of those if you want. And keep up to date with us as we release new episodes and whatnot. You can also contact us via email. We're newtoweeaboo@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments. Or did you watch Girl in Twilight? Maybe we're off base for some reason. Maybe you can have a very detailed list as to why we're totally wrong and it's actually really bad. I don't know.
Oh, jeez.
I don't want to hear it. Because you are wrong. We cannot be friends. But yeah, maybe you did like it. Maybe you're going to give it a shot. I don't know. Maybe you have suggestions for other anime for us to watch. Maybe something in the similar vein. I don't know.
Yep.
There also, of course, our Twitter account. We're at New to Weeaboo if you want to follow along with that one and keep up to date with new episodes and sometimes random anime musings and whatnot. And our personal Twitter accounts, I'm at Nemesis Prime 1 and he's at Alcatraz77T and an underscore at the end. And you can follow those and see pretty much nothing. Although I've been watching Transformers Animated. Been meaning to do that. It's been 15 years. I probably should go ahead and do that now. So that's it for this. Tune in next time. It'll be April. We're going to be talking more or less anime appreciating anime. So we're going to be talking about Anime Gatari. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about that one. Very interesting thing to watch. I'll say that. It's got some ideas.
Oh boy.
We'll definitely talk about that one. And should be a fun time. So, hope you guys take care of yourselves and all that stuff. We'll see you then. And until that point, goodbye.
See ya.
Set